Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Nick Cage Fight podcast, where we're not reviewing a movie this time. We are just talking about the worst of the worst, the dregs, the bottom of the barrel of what we have watched so far. And goddamn, I am so angry. I am one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by Rich and Ryan. How angry are you both?
I'm assembling a firing squad for the production crews for all of these films.
I'm angry enough to fuck the eye hole of Dan Crenshaw.
There you go.
Yeah, I had to bring that back.
I'm angry enough to jump in front of the firing squad for the production crews just so I can be put out of my misery. Yeah, okay. So the last episode we're talking about redeeming qualities of the films that we reviewed. There's going to be none of that fluffy bullshit here. We're going to be talking about the movies we hated the most that have been forced upon us by this creative venture that we've chosen to undertake. The lowest rank that we can give at this point in time is 33, and then counting upwards from there. There is some variation, but not much.
No.
in our absolute bottom ranking, Rich going slightly off the rails with some of these, in my opinion. But no, we have some variations in general, especially with our worst of the worst. All three of us have picked separate worst movies from what we've watched thus far.
Josh, you go first, but if you are a loyal listener, you know what the least favorite movie is.
Yeah, are we starting from the bottom and working our way up, or are we just going from like
I think bottom up.
28 down? All right.
Yeah, we'll go from bottom up because we get to talk about my least favorite film first up. Next, designed in a lab to piss me off specifically. I would like to think I'm connected enough to the mass of humanity that this movie pisses off everybody as much as it does me. I know that is not the case, but I will say this. If I was forced to pick a movie I hated as the only movie I could have to accompany me on a desert island, and they knew enough about me to make that movie next, I would kill myself at the earliest opportunity as opposed to having to live for even a week on a desert island with that as my only entertainment. Next sucked. The worst of anything that we have watched thus far for this podcast and anything I have watched personally over my entire lifetime of watching films. Terrible film. Don't watch it under any circumstances.
I agree with that. I don't agree that it's the worst thing we watched, but I have an extremely low tolerance for children's films. So we'll get to me when we get to me.
Fair. And we'll go over that and I'll explain why Next is a worse movie than your guys' bottom picks. But let's not dwell too long on it because I feel like Next is going to be a big theme over the course of this episode. My next worst film of the ones we've watched is City of Angels. Awful, terrible, bad film.
Reprehensible in a bunch of very explicit ways. Like, how do you go from Wim Wenders' City or Wings of Desire, one of the greatest films ever made, and then you shit that out?
Yeah, but at least you had Nick Offerman asking, "Is it red?"
Is it red? The only thing that allowed me to finish my notes for this film was the inclusion of Nick Offerman in a throwaway line, absolutely beardless, mustacheless, no facial hair whatsoever, and still the highlight of that particular film.
I will still say Dennis Franz is also pretty good in it.
Yeah, I won't necessarily quibble with that, but overall, film terrible.
Yeah, that might be Stockholm Syndrome talking there, though.
Next up for me, Christmas Carol. Odd, weird stuff going on and not particularly engaging. Also, over familiarity with the storyline. You know, really, definitely nothing to write home about. Something explicitly you would leave out of your letters home, even if those letters were sent from the front line of a war. Next up, G-Force. Bad ensemble children's film, which seems like it would be hard to fuck up, but by and large, relatively irredeemable, despite my personal love of Sam Rockwell and my
I
famous
forgot he was
tolerance
even
of
in
Tracy
that.
Morgan. Yeah. Next for me was Pay the Ghost. Did not enjoy that film. Odd, disjointed, and not particularly interesting in a lot of ways. You know, it might be one of my weakest bottom of the barrel. I might actually, in retrospect, change my ranking around, but still, Pay the Ghost, not a particularly good film. And 28, Knowing. Was not a fan of a film that made me confuse angel aliens with pedophiles for most of the runtime. I just don't appreciate that M. Night Shyamalan attempt on my brain. I'm going to turn it over in just a second, but I do definitely want to call out Sunny is my 27, just outside of the dirty bottom of the barrel, but could easily change. I think Sunny does deserve a spot down here. I'm not sure who gets dragged up to a less severe circle of hell for Sunny to take their place, but I wanted to mention it.
Well,
So-
Sonny stays out of it for me because of Acid Yellow. Like
That's exactly what happened for me,
That's
too.
that was the saving grace of that movie.
It's not enough. It's
Also, Harry Dean Stanton's performance is pretty primo in that.
true, but my question to you is how many good individual acts are enough to save a man's soul from hell? I'm not sure if Acid Yellow and Stanton saved.
Oh
you
no,
at that
I'm
point.
I'm just saying that's what kept it out of my
That's
bottom
fair.
5. It's
That is fair.
the 6th worst to me. I have it at 28.
I have it at 22, but it could easily drop way lower than that. But again, that might just be my fondness for Harry Dean Stanton. I love to see that guy on screen.
So my bottom is Christmas Carol, and I will tell you why. The animation was cheap. It was a story that has been told to death 1,000 different ways. There were no Muppets in it.
There were not a single
Not a
Muppet.
single Muppet.
Which is a problem. And
Hold on, can I do a quick aside about Muppets real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love Muppets.
Well, you're not going to love this story. I was forced upon me because I made the mistake of going on the internet. I learned there is a particular stage act where somebody paints themselves completely green, they're nude, painted green, and do a rendition of Kermit the Frog's It's Not Easy Being Green, while their partner, dressed as Jim Henson, fists them on stage.
Is it Jeff Dunham?
No, Jeff Dunham would be a much higher quality performer if he was willing to go this avant-garde. But yeah, no, I stumbled onto the wrong corner of the internet and got a full history of this particular stage act, which is just, it's something else. I'm not commenting.
You were wrong. I loved that piece of information, and I'm gonna share it with everyone I know.
Look it up.
Yeah, that's a great piece
You
of
might
information.
change your mind after seeing the particulars.
Like,
This
I
is
just
one of
watched
those-
the whole first season of the Muppets over the past week. I think this might be the perfect end cap for that.
There you go.
This
It
is one
might
of those
be.
times I wish I finished the soundboard so I could have added in a "Did he come?"
All right, sorry
Because
to-
that is a wait, but Josh, did he come?
I honestly I haven't seen the act from start to finish. Next time they tour in my area, I will go and let you know.
Cool.
Yeah, that's important. I need to know. But yeah, no, Chris. Now, I also want to make it clear that in my star rankings, the 0 out of 5, the bottom 3 movies to me all have a 0.25. I just want to make that clear.
I mean, my bottom 2 have a 0. Irredeemable trash.
I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to keep the 0s and the 5s like that's holy ground. Now, as we add more movies, can I switch Christmas Carol, City of Angels, and Next to 0s? Absolutely. But with only 33 out of 130 movies, I'm not prepared to give away those ratings yet.
I'm not prepared to watch a movie I hate more than G-Force, honestly. So I think a 0 is correct for that one.
Yeah, next is the only one of mine that hit 0. Everything else, the lowest score I gave is a 0.5, which to me, the break point for that is you made a movie. Next did not reach that level.
So I kind of gave away my next two. 32 is City of Angels. Absolute fucking garbage. It's trash. There are no redeeming qualities. Even the part where I thought that there might be a redeeming quality, when Nick Cage becomes human and he is trying to get to Meg Ryan, who, by the way, they have no chemistry together, zero chemistry.
Yeah.
But he's running to go and see her and doing everything he can to get to this place. And they're playing the fucking Goo Goo Dolls song, and it kind of fades out. And then there's a knock on her door, and she opens the door, and it's Nick Cage. How the music doesn't swell, the editor should be burned at the fucking stake for that.
All right.
It's the easiest call in the world, that when she opens the door and you see Nick Cage, you gotta hit him with the "and I don't want the world to see me." Like, done. No, they missed it. They fucking missed it. This movie cost $60 million to make, and they missed the layup.
I agree with you. The movie should have been called Touched by an Angel, but just one time.
And for like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Actually, this movie might get downgraded to 33 because now I'm much more animated over City of Angels than I am Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol was more boring than anything.
Yeah.
City of
I have
Angels,
said that a boring movie is the worst kind of movie.
You know what? Fuck it. City of Angels is 33. It's the bottom of the barrel for me.
So wrong, because at least City of Angels made me ask the question, when angels transubstantiate to humans, are they circumcised? Are they not? At least it provoked an interesting question. Next provoked no questions, except for what am I even doing here?
Well, 33 for me is next. It's a dog shit movie. It did have a few things that I enjoyed, and I know Josh is going.
God, don't. Why?
Because I want Josh.
I have a gun.
He'll use it too.
Because I want Josh to lose his shit. And it's not enjoyable. It's more of like, what the fuck is happening? But in a laughable way. Like, when to me, the funniest part of the movie is literally the first scene when it fades in to Nick Cage not sitting in a bar and grabbing a drink, but the drink already in his hand as if he is a statue. And then after 2 seconds, it's like the director said, okay, action. And then he starts taking a drink. Was pure fucking entertainment to me because it's so fucking bad.
Yeah, it does breach a little Wiseau territory a couple of times, but
yes,
not enough that I would say it's anything but terrible.
No, I'd rather watch The Room. 100%.
I'd almost always rather watch The Room.
I'm not touching you line of being so bad it's mildly entertaining.
Yeah.
It is never bad enough to be entertaining. It sits on the fence so perfectly in a way that is just objectively terrible.
So 31, I'm sorry, that was 31. 30 to me is G-Force, and I will tell you why. Before I already had Josh jump down my throat, before I have Ryan jump down my throat. This is why, because Nick Cage is giving a shit, and he's doing a voice, and he's trying his hardest, while everybody else, like Tracy Morgan, is just like, I'm Tracy Morgan as a fucking gerbil. And
I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't explicitly say it in the runtime of the film. I will give you that. Nick Cage unequivocally is trying his hardest out of the entire ensemble cast. That is true.
Everybody else,
but it's irredeemable because they completely squandered Niecy Nash.
Yes, they absolutely did. Way too much Black Eyed Peas. There were like 4 Black Eyed Peas songs in this fucking movie.
I thought it was just the one Black Eyed Peas song played 4 different times in the film.
It could have been. Every Black Eyed Peas song is the same.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That first album's got some heat to it.
No, I'm sorry, and I do hate to reference The Office.
This is exactly what I was thinking too.
But the Spader line is like, I don't understand the Black Eyed Peas. It's rap for people who don't like rap. It's rock for people who don't like rock. It's pop for people who don't like pop. I think that is the best critical examination of that band in general.
But that was like one of the good seasons of The Office, and it's only because of James Spader.
Agreed.
Any scene without him in it was bad. Every scene with him in it was really good.
Yeah, no, I did like his character.
But
that's the Lizard King, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I did
King.
see at least up to that point.
Um,
that was kind of entertaining.
And he was in the good Crash. You got to give it credit.
He
for
is in the
that.
good Crash. He's also in fucking Office Space.
Wait, who is he in Office Space?
I think you're wrong.
I might be wrong. I'm gonna double check.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just watched it. I'm like, he wasn't in Office Space.
I love Office Space because a buddy of mine and I worked at the same job for a while, and I hit a point where I was a supervisor and thus responsible for him. And every time we watched Office Space before we went to work, he was the most insufferable person to work with.
He was not in Office Space. I had a brain fart there.
No, that's okay. All right. Perfectly understandable.
And then my 29, which Josh, you gave this a little bit higher at 25. I don't fault you because I know where your head's at. Is USS Indianapolis, Men of Courage. It has some interesting bits. To me, the most interesting bit happened the last 5 minutes of the movie, which is like, because the guy's story is super interesting, and they just didn't capture that at all. They were just like, what if we remade Jaws? But hang on. What if we remade Jaws, but there's 1,000 sharks instead of just one?
Look, you are living in a size less world, and I'm living in a size more world.
Sizemore was very good. The shark jump scare of the guy vomiting over and the shark just obliterating him is also very good.
Yeah, it's a Sharks Rock movie.
Sharks Rock movie.
Yeah, like you've heard of Dudes Rock, like this is Sharks Rock.
100%.
They don't go back to the people who made a break for like the deserted island that they thought they saw but may not have been there. Again, the most interesting part is the court-martial scene that they spend about 3 minutes on, I guess, because they're just like, are there sharks in this scene? No, make it 3 minutes, doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, the bit where he's talking to the Japanese captain is also pretty good.
Yeah, like that was the interesting part to me.
That is quality filmmaking, but Rich, I'm not gonna lie, your takedown of this movie makes me feel like ranking it higher. I'm not
it's just not for me. And like I get it that it's for other people. And
it's for grandpas. Just say it's for grandpas.
Well, no, because it's right up Josh's alley. Like I get that.
This is my born in the wrong generation moment, because now I'm remembering the weird bits of that film that I found hilarious, like the dance scene in the early parts of it is just so disjointed, and just Sizemore cradling his own ripped off foot. I make no apologies for my ranking of this film.
And then my movie that just got left out of the bottom 5 is Sunny. Nick Cage's Acid Yellow saved that fucking movie. It's a top tier Nick Cage. I think that this would have been the one movie that would have cracked a top 10, maybe even top 5 Unhinged.
Yeah.
I don't know who decided to film it like that. We do know Nick Cage was a director, but I don't know if it was a cinematographer where they used that weird tint on him the whole time. Everything about Acid Yellow was perfect.
I agree with you 100%. I feel like Nick Cage's directorial influence was solely concentrated in the Acid Yellow scene, and he farmed everything else out to understudies. I can't prove it, but that's what I feel.
But like, we need an Acid Yellow spinoff.
100%. I would watch a fucking Acid Yellow in the Sunnyverse movie in a heartbeat. I'd rent out a theater to watch that.
Yeah, that's a movie that I want and need, and I'm gonna find out where I can contact Nick Cage and just bombard him every day with emails. Like, I'll tweet his agent if I can find him. I will do everything I can to be like, you need to make like Sunny 2 Acid Yellow Boogaloo.
So I got a little context for y'all. The cinematographer for that was Barry Markowitz, who had also done The Apostle, where Robert Duvall is a all fucked up preacher, and also Sling Blade. So that guy's got some like legitimate films in his credits.
French fried potatoes.
French fried potatoes. And if you haven't seen The Apostle, that movie whips ass.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Robert Duvall gets all pissed off as a priest, and he like takes a baseball and a baseball bat and just starts winging baseballs into this house. It's great.
Wow, I gotta watch that to see if something can compete with First Reformed for me as far as that genre is concerned.
All right, Ryan, you are up with your bottom 5.
Wait,
All right.
wait.
Oh,
Real
wait,
quick,
yeah, you're right. Do you know I was gonna make a bottom joke, but it is not appropriate, I don't think. Anyway, here's some ads. Hope you enjoyed those ads, because now Ryan is going to surprise ad. Patreon.com/Nick Cage Fight is a surprise ad. Go there. $3 a month gets you all of these episodes without commercials. I don't know why I was pausing. My brain was not working.
also full credit to Ryan. During that ad break, I was bopping specifically to Heart of Glass.
Yeah, same. Now that I said it, I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, no, you've got me on it. Instead of the Final Jeopardy jingle, it's going to be Heart of Glass.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
If you
Love
haven't
it.
heard it, listen to their early demo of that song before they decided to record it fast. It's just called The Disco Song, Once I Had a Love. It's pretty good.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. All right. So my bottom 5, starting from number 33 with a bullet. Fuck G-Force. Fuck that fucking movie. I hated it. I hated every second of it. I hated all of the bad pop music that they crammed up in there. I hated the performances of everyone, including Nick Cage. I thought while he was trying, it did not work. I hated that they squandered Niecy Nash in a scene that doesn't make any sense. I hated the weird little gremlin children who were torturing Tracy Morgan, and who else was that? I don't even remember.
Penelope Cruz.
Fuck that movie still. All right. So number 32.
Will Arnett was in that film.
Who was?
Will Arnett?
Yeah, he was an agent.
I don't remember that at all. Which is
Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, he was the one who made the G-Force.
It's just a credit to how shitty that movie is that I don't remember these people even being in it. All right, 32. Christmas Carol. Boring as shit. Worst thing a movie can be. 31. City of Angels. Fucking reprehensible remake of an excellent film. Number 30. Next. We've talked about it before. It sucks on ice. 29. USS Indianapolis. Completely squandered. If you got sharks in your movie, it should be way more interesting than this.
I really like the rapid fire.
Yep. 28. Knowing. I found it boring.
Yeah, I think come the 27s, it gets not much interesting, but 27 for you, Ryan. For me, it's 26 is Pay the Ghost. It's not the worst. It's bad. It's bad, but it's not the worst. And it's Ghost Rider. And I would watch Ghost Rider again.
Absolutely.
Ghost Rider and Ghost Rider 2 are criminally low on our rankings in general.
Well, I think that we probably still have a decent amount of crap to get through.
Yeah, I think they're the threshold for watchable. Anything below them is unwatchable for me.
So, all right, let's take a minute to talk about the Ghost Riders, because they're close enough to our bottom of the barrel, and I don't necessarily think that that's fair. And I want to get into why.
All right. Fair.
So let's start with the first one, Ghost Rider 1. I have it 23. Rich also has it 23. Ryan has it at 26, which at least in your numerical ranking is just below the second Ghost Rider. And I do agree with placing the second Ghost Rider above the first one.
Yeah, now it's more fun. Idris Elba is really good in that.
I actually have it ranked below, but it shouldn't be as far low as I have it at 27. Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the first one more. I did enjoy the second one, but I just didn't know what should be below it. I guess I can move Firebirds below it.
I'm heartbroken.
Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that. We gave Ryan a fair amount of shit for his high ranking.
It's
of
in my top
Firebird.
10. I love it.
Um, but the first Ghost Rider was following the same basic quippy formula of the what. Now I don't know if people are going to agree with me or not on this, but deny it all you want. We're in the golden age of comic book movies. It
We're in the
was
year that Spawn came out.
so hold on, follow me on this because
All right.
don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Spawn. John Leguizamo, 100% sign me up. But the silver age started as far as comic book movies are concerned with the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. Without the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, you do not have the Marvel Cinematic Universe at all. You do not have the Nolan Batmans. You don't. Raimi set the stage for it.
I set the gold standard. I still think they're some of the best superhero movies ever made.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is still one of the greatest.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with their overall quality. What I'm saying is Sam Raimi spawned the Silver Age where, because before that, I mean, people don't remember this. You had a fucking Dolph Lundgren Punisher. You had a Captain America movie.
Yeah, we talked about all of these.
Yeah. But Sam Raimi pushed that. Sam Raimi walked so the MCU could run everything into the ground, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like not enough people talk about the Christopher Reeve Supermans from the 70s and 80s, though. Like, those movies really are kind of the blueprint for that specific style of filmmaking.
I don't
Yeah, it was
disagree
good.
with that, but it was still experimental at that at that point in time. Sam Raimi showed the blockbuster potential of it. So, you know, you have Sam Raimi setting the stage. You have Nolan doing more work for the DC universe as far as the silver screen is the big screen is concerned than anybody else previous.
Tim Burton's Batman was a gigantic hit.
Fair,
like on the same level as those Nolan movies.
Fair, and Schumacher got a turn at bat with those as well. But honestly, I still think those were gambles for the studios until like argue with me on this. The Tim Burton Batmans and Schumacher's Batman did not lead to the MCU. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man's led to the MCU.
I mean, if I want to get real pedantic, I could argue that Popeye, the Robert Altman film with Robin Williams, is really the blueprint for all of this.
Blueprint versus getting greenlit on your funding is a whole different discussion. But Ghost Rider happened early enough in this linear journey, and I think it hit all of the story beats and the basic elements to qualify. Like we sort of put a cut before like the MCU actually started as to saying this is where superhero movies started, where I think the first Ghost Rider 100% is kind of unfairly cut out of that. It hit all of the same beats as an MCU flick, the same quippy dialogue, the same nonsense. It just was a little bit weird and a little bit early. And mainly the weird bits were somebody, the director gave Nick Cage carte blanche on, you're transforming into a man with a flaming skull for a head. Do this in front of a mirror, please, for the love of God. This is what people want to see. And they were right about that. That is what I want to see. 100%. You know? And the goofy bits, like him being able to drink directly from a pot of hot coffee because normally...
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Super cool. The goofy shit where he's trying to get his ex-girlfriend's attention by doing like wheelies next to her news van. Awesome. Like all of it was really cool.
That is very in character for Johnny Blaze.
Exactly.
As someone who does actually collect Ghost Rider comics, it's pretty fucking spot on.
Hell yeah. The only thing I think that held that movie back was the Hunger Games dude playing the main villain, which is like this weird vampire demon dude.
I think the thing holding it back is that we had already had like 2 or 3 X-Men movies that were more self-serious and people were looking for more of that in their superhero stuff, which may be why the Nolan movies, the Batmans, did so well compared to Ghost Rider.
But I mean, and that's another conversation in the minutia of superhero movies where it's like, I know grittiness took this like forefront stance, but we're seeing the flaw in that as an overall strategy right now.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain element of comic books that is based in absurdity as a concept. And when you get too far away from that, eventually you're burning out your audience. In
I
my
mean, for mainstream superhero comics specifically, because comic books is a gigantic medium. It's a
True.
way of telling stories. There are stories that aren't that don't plumb those campy depths. But I do agree on a fundamental level that if we're talking about big two superhero stories, Marvel and DC, that is absolutely a main part of it.
Yeah. So like in general, my overall defense of Ghost Rider is I think it is really in line with the MCU as it's developed in general, but it's treated as a redheaded stepchild overall, which I think is kind of weak and cowardly on their part overall. Nick Cage as Ghost Rider should be included in more shit. It would lend an element of weirdness that I think they need, given their overall sort of, again, it feels kind of too straight-laced stuffed shirt style in my opinion, and I don't think Ghost Rider was particularly a bad flick.
No, I do agree with you, and and you kind of see comic book movies now kind of coming back around to being goofy. At least some of them are. With
Yeah, like
between
the Ant-Mans are kind
yeah,
of goofy.
yeah, Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, like the Thor movies now that like they kind of found their footing.
Yeah, the goofy Thors are the best Thors, even though the best Thor comics are the most self-serious.
Yeah.
Right. And so I do think it's a movie that probably would have done way better in 2023. Like if you just released that exact movie and you put it under the Marvel banner, it would have made $600 million and it would have been a middle of the road MCU movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You give it a post-credits scene where Ghost Rider meets the Avengers or some stupid shit. It makes double what its box office took.
Well, it's got to be like the Thunderbolts or like the West Coast Avengers. I don't think he was ever
Sure.
actually on the Avengers as a main team.
100% cut it off to Midnight Suns or some shit
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Some off-brand
Fucking
crew.
Marvel Knights with like Daredevil and the Punisher. I'd
Hell,
watch the shit out of a movie that's a fucking Marvel Knights movie, actually.
100%. I agree entirely. It was just too early, and that's why people write it off. Now, if we're finished Ghost Rider 1 discourse, Ghost Rider 2 discourse is much more interesting to me personally, because we did a deep dive on the production issues that this had, the rewrites, the reshoots, originally slated for a higher rating as far as the release was concerned, and then parsing back on that, and you can see that 100% in the films in the scene. The pissing flamethrower scene that they
Ooh,
use multiple
yeah.
times, you're like, god damn, why didn't you just let them run with an R rating on this? It really stands out. But the second one, and I think not true across all of it. In fact, I'm the only one who no. Ryan also rated it higher than the first Ghost Rider. Rich, you did not agree with that particular ranking
No, but
schema.
I am thinking that I might be in because I now am kind of like thinking back on it. My main issue with that movie was I feel like it had to pick a lane. Half of it was goofy, half of it was deathly serious.
Yeah.
And I feel like if it had just picked a lane and just either went goofy or went serious, it would have been a better movie either way. It probably would have been better if it was goofy, just because you had the drunk monk, you had the piss flamethrower,
Yeah.
you had the weird kid. So if it went goofy, it probably would have been better. But if it had gone in either lane and stayed there, it would have been a better flick either way.
I don't disagree with that at all. What we got was a sloppy, chopped up mess. But there were certain elements of the film that stood out to me as interesting and unique. Some of the weird, like EDM fucking break apart epileptic seizure inducing scenes with like the bodies floating and the lights flashing. I thought they had something there that they were going for, and the bureaucratic red tape kind of strangled the shit out of the film.
Mhm.
What was it? Has Idris Elba been the only person to be in an MCU, a non-MCU, and a DCU movie?
Who was he in a DCU?
He
Movie?
was in the reboot, the good Suicide Squad.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
Yeah. So and again, we went into this in the Ghost Rider episode specifically. There was a branch of the, not the MCU as it exists currently, but there was a Marvel corporate branch that was specifically supposed to be making like superhero films for an older crowd that got shit canned before the MCU started.
What was it called? Like Marvel Dark or something? I forget now.
Yeah, something like that. And Ghost Rider 2, I believe, was their last actual film project.
Marvel Knights. Marvel Knights is what it was called.
Yes. So it was one of those things where like the studio and the producers got cold feet, and what we ended up with was a sloppy, chopped up mess. But the potential there, again, and I'm as guilty as all of us with, you know, ranking this very low, because we could have gotten something much better. But it was it's the potential that drove its points up in my overall ranking.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could have gotten gas station dick pills.
Yes.
Yeah, we could have.
Yes. Yeah,
You could have
Ghost Rider.
gotten,
I
you could have
will
gotten
say
gas
this.
station dick pills. That's an ad transition for those of you who don't know. Anytime gas station dick pills is brought up, it's an ad transition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if this is your first time listening, get really used to this.
Yeah, we've picked our lane, unlike Ghost Rider 2 Spirit of Vengeance. So listen to these ads about gas station dick pills, hopefully.
That sure was a good Hims commercial. Not quite gas station quality, but like they're getting there. I mean, listen, it's hard to live up to the gold standard of dick pills that you can buy at a Sunoco.
It's hard to live when you're soft.
Yeah, no, you gotta walk hard. So I do think this is relatively interesting. You know, we're currently sorted on Ryan's lowest to highest, but an interesting movie I think to talk about is The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I have it at 20, Rich has it at 19, and Ryan has it at 24 overall. I think this was a relatively inoffensive sort of family film.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was okay.
Okay. Ryan, I do love that you have 10 ranks lower than me, who has been the most outspoken about the overhyped nature of adaptation. You have Sorcerer's Apprentice just under adaptation
Yeah.
on the overall ranking, and
mean,
I
I
just
don't-
want to say that's dope as fuck.
I don't like adaptation. I think Charlie Kaufman likes the smell of his own farts. And I also don't like children's films. So
All
like
right, wait a minute. Josh
Sorcerer's
has,
Apprentice is just not gonna breach much higher than that for me.
Good.
Josh has adaptation at 13. I have it at
That's way too high.
15. You
That's
have it at
both.
23. So Josh, who is the most outspoken, actually has it the highest.
That's me caving to peer pressure. I know it's a critically acclaimed film, and I do agree with the general arguments about Nick Cage's performance being very good in this film that is otherwise a writer's jerk-off session.
Oh, so you caved to
retrospect,
the Academy. You caved to the woke mob.
maybe a little bit. I wanted to give it credit where credit is due, but I do think as far as the writing is concerned, it's bottom of the barrel. That is different than ranking the performances and its overall quality as a movie. And in my defense, just briefly, it is closely tied with the film that we all agreed was a good film, which is Being John Malkovich. So I think it's riding coattails really hard as far as my ranking is concerned, and I do like the cast in it. My main quibble with it is the writing. So, I'm weighing those elements against each other. And yes, most
Yeah.
outspoken and highest ranked, come at me. I don't care. Fucking show up on our Twitter at cagefight_pod and tell me why I'm a fucking sellout. But it is what it is.
Sellout.
Sure. I agree. I'm not gonna quibble with that specifically. Ryan, I am going to ask you to defend your position on Sunny at 22. Is that purely
that's
riding on the
Acid
strength
Yellow.
of Acid Yellow?
That is Acid Yellow all the way.
It's strong, but I don't think it's that strong, man. Acid Yellow's shoulders are not that broad to lift up the rest of that film.
I'm honestly not that attached to it that I couldn't drop it down below the Ghost Riders, but like Acid Yellow is real good. It's a combination of Acid Yellow and the Harry Dean Stanton love, honestly.
I get that. So if we can have a quick Harry Dean Stanton aside, have you seen Alpha Dog?
I have not seen Alpha Dog.
Wait, neither of you have seen Alpha Dog?
Nah.
Nope.
In one of my most recommended films, Alpha Dog being the adaptation of True Story, which again, of course, has Harry Dean Stanton in it, Justin Timberlake.
Oh shit, this was written and directed by John Cassavetes' son. What the fuck? How have I not seen this?
Anton Yelchin, who is my biggest, definitely died too early movie stars.
Fucking Justin Timberlake's in this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. You sold me. I'm sold.
You have to watch this
film. I do have to watch this.
Everybody listening to this podcast, I know this is a Nick Cage podcast. We're making a tentative connection to the Cage verse through Stanton here. Watch Alpha Dog. My God.
We'll do a Patreon on it.
Please. Oh my God.
And you can listen to that at patreon.com/NickCageFight and give us some dollars.
There you go. I will go on for 3 hours straight on Alpha Dog. One of my favorite films in general. What was it? Ben Foster? I'm hold on 1 second. Let me get all the names straight in my head because I need to give Alpha Dog full credit. So it's got Emile Hirsch in it, Justin Timberlake, Anton Yelchin, as said. Bruce Willis is in it before his brain went bad. You got Sean Hatosi, who is a great supporting actor in a bunch of different things. And Ben Foster plays one of his best roles, if not his best role ever in this film. And Rich, the tie-in for you is Ben Foster is also in the World of Warcraft movie.
Have not seen the World of Warcraft movie.
Okay.
That I have no want or need to see that movie.
It's bad.
I am going to ask Ryan, what's with Honeymoon in Vegas? I have it at 11. Josh has it at 14. You got it down in the 2s. You got a 20 on it.
I think you were out when we were talking about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we did touch on that last episode.
I won't make you repeat it then. I'll listen to it and get caught up.
The long and short of it is that and Valley Girl rom-coms, not my style of movie. Just didn't really catch me. It has its charms. James Caan's pretty good. You got skydiving Elvises, which is apparently a real thing. But
that's a real thing. You have Nick Cage just being the unluckiest person in Las Vegas, taking all of his chips off of 20 and putting it on 22, and it hits 20.
To hit another, so there's 2 other shitty movies that I want to hit, specifically because we're looking at Ryan's ascending order list here.
Yeah, let's hit them.
Humanity Bureau, you liked better than Running with the Devil, Valley Girl, and Honeymoon in Vegas. And
yes, order. I did.
Okay, so I saw this too, and I already know the answer. It's people drinking their own piss.
People drinking their own piss is so good.
Like I already knew the answer to that. Like I saw it was going to ask. I'm like,
that little kid steals that dude's eye. There's a lot to love about that movie.
Yeah, I mean, like upon further inspection, it's not a good movie, but I think we may have been a little bit too harsh. It has some outlandish shit happening.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought. I think I was the biggest proponent of that movie during the episode. I liked it a lot.
That's okay. I'll accept that, but we have to move on to the next one real quick. Of all of us, you have it ranked the highest, The Old Way.
I
What?
am predisposed towards liking westerns. Even a C-
Okay.
western is going to be ranked pretty high for me.
Okay, so it's not autistic cowboys, it's just cowboys.
It's just cowboys. I have an aesthetic thing about like the Old West. I just think it's. I imagine me as Marge Simpson holding a potato. I think it's neat.
I just think it's neat.
I just think it's
Yeah.
neat.
So I will ask you this, knowing personally your film preferences, is that because westerns are so heavily influenced by like samurai films in general that you have a predilection to them, or do you truly like the western genre
I
as a
truly like.
standalone?
I like the Western genre as a standalone. I do really appreciate the Westerns that take influence from like Akira Kurosawa, like all the Sergio Leone spaghetti Westerns that do that. But the
Mhm.
ones that don't kind of whip ass too. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the original Django, but that movie rules.
I have it. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good
I-
stuff. Once Upon a Time in the West is a movie that I will sit down and watch every time it's on TV.
I've seen that too. That movie also real good.
Yeah, Westerns can be some of the best films of all time. And I think that since there's such an American style of filmmaking and they're based on like the American landscape, they can tap into something that you don't really get in a lot of other films in terms of how they portray nature, which is something I always really appreciate.
All right. I
I
can
get it.
100% accept that. I get it. And you are right as far as like classic storytelling, the whole lone gunman or the last stand elements of westerns. There is some real compelling shit there. I get that.
Yeah, plus sometimes they are the most beautifully shot films of all time. And like there's something to be said about that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Position successfully defended. You have vanquished the demons on this one. I think. Yeah, honestly, except for both of yours refusal to recognize that Next is the worst film that we have watched, I don't really have many more quibbles.
Yeah, I mean, outside of like the overall ranking, we'll give a quick shout out to Cage Hair.
Oh yeah.
Because again, not a whole lot changes. The Cage Hair in the first 5 minutes of The Old Way, very good. Raising Arizona is a top 3 Cage Hair. It could
I
even be
actually
top 2.
I was gonna say I put Raising Arizona as
Well, yeah,
top of the barrel personally.
we had this
contender for first
conversation
place
that
easily.
you put it at first, I put it at second, still behind Sorcerer's Apprentice, but it's a coin toss. Again, it's 1A and 1B to me.
I know it's a little bit taboo to talk about the films we haven't reviewed yet. We all know what number 1 is going to be.
Is it gonna be Con Air?
Of
Of
course.
course
It's gonna be Con Air.
It should have been called Con Hair.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's obviously the guaranteed winner unless there's some weird direct to DVD I haven't seen where he has better hair.
I don't think that's possible.
I don't think so either.
Honestly, Con Air should have been L'Oreal should have paid for that fucking movie.
Oh my god, they could have done a whole marketing campaign of that with just Nick Cage with his glorious locks just blowing in the breeze. I would have bought that shampoo.
We'll talk
I
about
would have
movies
bought a
that-
DVD compilation of those commercials if they put that out.
Yes.
Talking about movies that we
Agreed.
have seen though, Season of the Witch, great Cage Hair.
Yeah, that's a
It
pretty
was
good Cage
really
Hair.
good.
It was
It was-
nice. It was very good Cage Hair. Unhinged scene. Sonny is gonna be top 10.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Outside of that, though, I don't remember seeing too many unhinged scenes in this group. Now, remember, when we say unhinged scene, it still needs to be Nick Cage portraying the unhingedness. So,
Yes.
to me, that disqualifies the panties on the head scene from
Yes.
Firebirds because
Mhm.
that is Tommy Lee Jones being unhinged.
Well, it's the circumstances being unhinged.
Right. It's also known as the Sizemore Award around here.
Yeah.
Same with unhinged movie. I guess you could put like Raising
Arizona
Arizona.
is pretty unhinged.
You
I
could
mean,
put
it's
that
about
unhinged-
stealing a baby, and there's a dude that rolls around blowing up bunnies.
Like I don't know if it's top 5,
Fair.
but it's definitely top 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree with that.
Like it's not going to get past. Like it's not going to get past Bad Lieutenant. I don't know if
No.
it's not going to get past Between Worlds. It's not going to get past
Nope.
Vampire's Kiss.
True.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, for a film I've much maligned in these episodes, Sunny is a pretty unhinged fucking film.
Sonny is very unhinged, and that's got to be the directing.
Yeah.
It also the writing, the Billy Club fuck scene that fades to black, that's gonna haunt me for a long time. I think that qualifies.
Fucking James Franco getting all indignant because somebody's having some cough syrup.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot
That
about
was
that.
a very good and that to me would be top 3 if that was Nick Cage performing. That
Yeah,
scene.
agreed.
But instead, it's a weird rapey dude, so doesn't
Yeah.
count.
Sunny is just an unfortunately bad film.
The Cage nudity stays the same. We did not get any new nudity, so it is still Zandali, Rumblefish, and Valley Girl in that order.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Zandali is in a strong lead with the shadow of a dick. We did an absurd amount of second by second reviews.
We looked at this thing like the Zapruder film. Like,
yep.
This is our JFK assassination.
100%.
I looked at like the Patterson Gimlin film. That dick was fuzzy like a Bigfoot.
Yeah, no.
As for Cage performance, definitely Raising Arizona is going to be a top 5.
Yeah.
It was crazy good. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is going to be, bottom 2, probably between that and I guess Rumblefish.
No. I wouldn't put his performance in Rumblefish in the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, no, that's a mid-range. He has some lines, unlike Fast Times, where he just looks at Judge Reinhold.
Yeah, he has lines, and the nudity scene that we rank him on is him just being crazy, mostly nude on film. I give him full credit for that. He doesn't have a big role necessarily, but it is a pivotal one. It is important to the overall storyline, and he does put his best foot forward.
Agreed. But outside of that, like nothing here is going to shake up like the ones that we decided are important, like the hair, the unhinged, the nudity, the performance. Like we got a lot of mid shit in here, at least for these 11 movies. I don't want to say in here because we have watched some fucking bangers.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the additional 11 films that we've added to the overall rankings, like I said, I thought it was a microcosm. We had some real bangers, we had some real middle of the road, and we had some real dog shit. And not for nothing, that is the trend I expect to continue moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, we added one each to the bottom 3 and the top 3, so that should tell you everything you need to know about this block.
I agree with that.
But like the more I'm going through this too, the more I think that Moonstruck might just be unmovable out of that number 1.
It's not going to be unmovable once we get to Bringing Out the Dead. Bringing Out the Dead is going to top that for me.
Okay.
And then speaking from experience,
I'm interested because
there's movies that I have not seen that I know are good. Like I can't wait to watch Wild at Heart. Have never seen it.
Wild at Heart is fucking wild. I think maybe on a rewatch that might also crack Moonstruck for me.
I've never seen Leaving Las Vegas.
I found out the Japanese title of that the other day. You want to hear it?
Yes, because I remember seeing this
somewhere. Drunk Man and Prostitute.
Actor.
Would not have won an Oscar if that was the title. And nobody castrate me, please. I've never seen Face Off.
Oh my god. What? Dude, it's like it might be John Woo's best movie that doesn't have Chow Yun-Fat in it.
So I've never seen it, and then when we started doing this podcast, I committed myself to not watching it so that everybody can get that pleasure with me.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna ruin some future ranking episodes right now by telling you the Holy Trinity is gonna hit my top 3, even if you put a gun to my head and we were like, you're trying to tell me that Moonstruck wasn't a better film than these 3 films, and I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna eat the bullet 100% because those are the most quintessential Nick Cage films, in my opinion, that you have to watch to understand the man and his career 100%. You're
So
going to know it. I'm going to know it, that those rankings are unfair. And I don't care.
So I agree. Well, I think that they're the most important, but I think that it is sort of important to put the distinction between best and most important. Now, if you don't want to make that distinction, like that is totally fine, and I get it because those, like I said, those are probably the three most important films. Maybe National Treasure would be up there as well because it almost started a franchise, but that first movie like made all of the money. But I don't know, like, having seen Con Air and seen The Rock, to me, Moonstruck is better than both of those movies. Raising Arizona is better than both of those movies. Do I think that all three will land in the top 10 for me? And do I think that one will end up in the top 5, maybe 2?
I think
More than
Face Off
likely
is gonna actually be higher than Raising Arizona for me.
Okay, well, like I said, that's the one I've never seen, and The Rock and Con Air are not as good as Raising Arizona to me.
Fucking Face Off is so good. I will watch that movie at the drop of a hat. I love it so much. I could eat a peach all day.
Well,
look, first of all, I just want to make this very clear. The Holy Trinity is not what's going to get the fans to turn against me. My ranking for the Nick Cage Wicker Man is what's going to get me ostracized from our community, because I consider that the fourth. If you had to add to the Holy Trinity, it would be the Wicker Man for me, but we'll get there when we get there.
I can't wait for the Patreon episode where we watch the original Wicker Man, because that movie's fucking crazy too.
The funny thing is there's a whole genre of that specific type of storytelling. One movie of which includes Dan Aykroyd, if I'm not mistaken.
What, folk horror?
Yeah. The whole fucking harvest sacrifice shit. Dan Aykroyd was in one. It's a whole subgenre.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of those.
Yeah, like I do know it's a subgenre. I've never seen them. Not being a horror person, I've never seen Wicker Man. I'm not looking forward to watching Wicker Man.
You're gonna love it.
I think you would actually really like the original, because it's not like a scary movie, but it's a horrifying movie for all of like what happens in the background of it.
Now, you guys, everybody, us included, is going to love the Wicker Man episode because Nick Cage dresses in a bear suit and drop kicks old ladies. That's a good movie.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that.
100%. You cannot talk me out of ranking a movie that includes those elements at the tippy top.
All right. So, I mean, I've just never seen it. Like, I know that, or at least I think that that's going to be like probably one of the harder watches, as well as, like Mandy, I know is going to kind of suck for me.
Oh, Mandy's awesome. You're going to like that too by the end of it. Trust me.
All right.
Mandy, I don't know. Mandy's a pretty harsh hang. I don't know if this is Rich's kind of movie, but I do love it.
I know it's not Rich's kind of movie, but I think the weird elements are going to appeal to his.
You're going to have to like keep me hyped like when we get to those movies.
Look,
you're going to have to get me hyped.
You like prog rock? You like King Crimson?
I love prog rock. I'm not the biggest King Crimson person, but I love prog rock.
All right, you're probably going to love Mandy then.
All right. So, because now we're going off the rails on the shit we're about to review at some point in the near future. So, Rich, why don't you reveal to us and our captive audience what's happening next?
It is Dog Eat Dog.
Ooh, a little Paul Schrader.
Let me pull up the Wikipedia on this because I don't know. There's a band called Dog Eat Dog. Oh, whoa. What? This is Nick Cage and Willem Dafoe.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Directed by Paul Schrader, the writer of Taxi Driver.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie. I've seen this film, and this
nuts.
is gonna throw you. If you haven't seen it, Ryan, have you seen this or not?
I haven't, but I know about it, and I love Paul Schrader. Paul Schrader makes some fucking crazy movies.
Loop.
I believe it.
Loop.
I've never watched a Paul Schrader movie that it didn't come out of like, what the fuck?
Yes. Yeah. your streak is gonna remain.
Oh, he did Bringing Out the
unbroken.
Dead too. Okay.
He wrote it. That was directed by Scorsese because him and Scorsese are frequent.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
collaborators.
Taxi Driver, Raging. I
Yeah.
love Raging Bull. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, Raging Bull's real good.
Last Temptation of Christ is very good. I have not seen Bringing Out the Dead.
You will.
Well, I know I will.
You will.
I enjoyed American Gigolo. What else has he done that I have seen? Not a
I mean, he
whole
did
lot.
the movie biopic of the Japanese playwright Mishima, A Life in Four Parts, the guy that tried to pull a straight up coup on the Japanese government. The
Oh
movie's
wait,
pretty good.
I saw the Card Counter. That was pretty good with Oscar Isaac.
Oh yeah, that was. I didn't know that was him. Okay,
I didn't realize it was
Cool.
him either. I may watch that again because that movie is again. It's a movie that is kind of tailor made for me. I
Yeah.
love a gambling movie, and it's set in Atlantic City.
Oh shit, I forgot he directed fucking Cat People. Cat People is insane. Cat People is about like this ancient cabal of people that turn into cats when they fuck.
Sick.
Yeah. And then they
Also,
eat
Ryan,
people.
you'll like this about Dog Eat Dog. Apparently, Paul Schrader said he approached Michael Wincott, Michael Douglas, Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, Nick Nolte, Christopher Walken, Jeff Goldblum, and Rupert Everett for the role of Greco the Greek, but it didn't work out with any of them. In the end, to avoid going over budget, he played the role himself in what will be his acting debut.
Oh shit, that's
Ooh.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that's dope as hell.
Dog Eat Dog, I'm excited to go through because this is a fucking wild film in general. Very, very solid. Also, not rated. Might be our first not rated where we can't fucking pin it down at all. I'm excited.
I am excited for this movie.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely down to crack into some Schrader.
Hell yeah.
As somebody who is not like a director person, like I mean, I know like I know who Schrader is, but like I wouldn't watch a movie because of who directed it. There's directors that I enjoy that I know going in that like I will enjoy things, but he's done things that I've enjoyed, so I'm hyped for this.
Also, just to call out a film that I specifically mentioned earlier this episode, Schrader wrote First Reformed.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Didn't realize that either. He's all over the place, honestly.
100%. And if you haven't seen First Reformed, either of you or any of our listeners, check it out. It's fucked up. And if you want to know what it looks like when you mix whiskey and Pepto-Bismol, this is the film for you.
Huh.
Oh, what the fuck? I did not realize that Paul Schrader wrote the sequel to there's a fucking Dennis Hopper H.P. Lovecraft HBO television movie that came out in the 90s, and Paul Schrader wrote the sequel to it.
Ooh, what was the original called?
Cast a Deadly Spell. And Dennis Hopper plays a private eye named Howard Philip Lovecraft.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's some dope shit.
It is some pretty dope shit. I've seen the first one. I did not know there was even a sequel.
All right, I'm gonna reel this in because we are over time.
Yes, we are.
Josh, what's that Twitter account?
That's cagefight_pod on Twitter. Check us out. Cancel me for my takes or yell at Rich or Ryan for their rankings. I'm trying to jump in front of the bullets there.
No, please yell at me. I have a humiliation kink.
What was that?
Please yell at me. I have a humiliation kink.
Yeah. Don't say mean things about me on Twitter. I'll come.
Patreon.com/Nick Cage Fight. I'm a little pay pig, so if you pay me money, I'll come.
There you go.
But we give you some cool shit too. $3 a month will get you all these episodes without commercials, which is pretty dope.
And apparently we have to do a tier list on a live stream where you guys can join the chat and yell at us about our wrong opinions, and we will ignore you or verbally abuse you. We haven't quite settled on attack just yet, but go on. Check it out. It'll be a good time. Something to tell your kids about.
Definitely. Outside of that, good job, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in for the second part of our third ranking episode. Join us next time for Dog Eat Dog, which is going to be enjoyable, I guarantee you, if you like us breaking down plots. And as always, listeners, we appreciate you.
Bye-bye.